Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another evening of Arts for Art Online Salon featuring Trio Plex. And with a visual artist tonight is Tom Cabrera. But Trio Plex is Cooper Moore on piano, Michael T.A. Thompson on drums, Ken Filiano on bass. Let the music begin. Oh, good evening. Was this not a wonderful evening? Was this not a wonderful performance? Sorry, I hesitated for a moment just because I didn't realize we'd actually begun. But it's such a great night of music, and thank God, because we really needed it. So we have Cooper Moore, Ken Filiano, Michael T.A. Thompson, and Tom Cabrera isn't here, but his art was. And so we have to acknowledge him. Now we're just going to talk with those who are here, and what we decided, we just talk about the creative process, what is our life as creative beings, is how do we deal with how does our way of life make it work for each one of us? How about that? Is that too? Well, and since you said, we'll start with you, Ken Filiano.
Hey, wait a second now.
So what is, no, I mean, like, we are creative beings. We've committed ourselves to this. We've paid a price.
Big price, yeah.
Big price. You know, they didn't have it on sale when we came up. So what, but let's not talk about the price. Let's just talk about the journey, like the journey of being this creative path. And just tell me how does it work for you? How does it work for you?
Well, I guess I can only be anecdotal because I can't speak for anybody else here. But for me, it kind of, I'm a solitudinous being. That's my baseline.
Could you put your mic a little closer?
Oh, okay, I'm a solitudinous being. That's my baseline. So the idea of, wow, no gigs, no hanging out. Oh, yeah, baseline. No hanging out, no hearing people, no rehearsing, no kibitzing. I miss that because that's a beautiful thing. But I had a whole list of things I needed to pay attention to in my life. I said, wow, I'm just going to go down, close the hatch, and I'll see you in about a year, you know, and start working on this stuff and seeing how it's going to, and then it's going to manifest in art no matter what. So that's kind of that's where I took it from, because if I didn't, I would start to miss everything. I would miss these cats. I would miss you. I'd miss everybody, and then I would get a little very dark, you know. So therefore, I went with that baseline. BASE.
Oh, I think it works either way. You can spell it either way.
Exactly.
Yeah, but all right. So you're talking about how this has functioned for you in the last year, and actually, I'm like going real big as I want to do. As I'm known, as I'm building a reputation for being.
Yeah.
So like because the creative path in life is, I think, different. It's a whole different set of rules and expectations and directions.
Is it really?
I don't think
know.
so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think modern culture, if you read Sun Ra, you know, we've gotten away from being natural people. You know, we live in square, rectangular buildings. You know, that's not how nature doesn't create that kind of stuff, and that affects who you become. But I think we've gotten away, natural people, we've gotten away from being creative, the masses of us, you know. But being creative is a commonness amongst traditional people. They all create, everybody creates. Country people, everybody, you're taught to improvise, you're taught to make things for yourself, you know. So I think that it has to do with modern living.
I totally agree with Cooper in the sense that in terms of being creative, I think one of the reasons why we try to be creative is to break out of bad habits that we've learned throughout our life. From a little kid all the way up, we were told to do this, told to do that, and with all the different instructions and guidance and all this stuff, you know, we get to a certain age, we like, wow, now, so how do I feel about it? How do I get to that point where I could say something? I say we all use, and this is where I agree with Cooper, we need to use what we got. Who says that? To get just what you want. Is that a James Brown line or what? You know, so in other words, like what we did tonight, you know, there's a lot of back and forth, give and take. There's a lot of deciding, and a lot of this stuff is nonverbal, which I'm really big on the nonverbal, because when we talk about what we're doing so much, we get into the words of it. And the words word is just a guide. There's something deeper than words. So when do we get to that other thing that's deeper than words? So a lot of the time, silence, this is why I'm inclined to go with Ken also. Silence would allow you to get to this other space that your verbal or what you've been taught would never be able to get you there. So this is why I think using the creative approach to anything, I don't care whether you know about it or not, you don't need to know. If you trust that, it could bring you to another place of awareness, you know, and you take it from there and you look out into the world, and the world looks different. Right now we look out, we see all this funky stuff, right? We see all this funky stuff, but is that you? What can you do in the midst of that funky stuff, in spite of that funky stuff? You know, we could do a lot. I mean, as individuals, we could do a lot. You know, and the thing is, how do we do it? We start to think creatively. We start to respond creatively. You know, and that's why I say I agree with Cooper. It's a natural thing to do that, because we know how to naturally survive. You know, and we do it in the music. We give, you know, I could say, well, I want to go this way. Cooper could say, I wanted to go this way. Ken could say, I wanted to go that way, and it's all good. So how do we navigate all of that in a way that we all can get what we want? And we know it's possible. We do it in music, we could do it in life.
Well, just to add on to the whole thing, the idea of getting to your baseline rather than being distracted by what I have to do for this or what I have to do for that. When you get to your baseline, then you can be honest with everything that's around you. You can be honest with everybody that you're with as much as possible, including yourself. Including, like you say, you expand to the largest expansiveness. That's your baseline. It's a beautiful thing. Go, baby, go. You know, that's what I say, you know.
Okay. I try.
Yeah, you do.
I try. It's exhausting sometimes.
But, you know, the way the culture is, you talk about Western European culture, you know, for thousands of years, you go back to the Greeks and Aristotle, where they want to categorize everything, you know, and put everything in boxes. So, but that's not how nature is. Nature's all mixed up, you know, but I think, you know, sometimes we think that, well, I have to be a piano player, or I have to be a doctor. You can't be a doctor and a piano player? Sure you can. There are many of them, you know. Or I can't be a painter and I can't be a mother. No, you can't too. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you can imagine, you can be and do. That's the thing. If you can imagine it, it's doable.
Yeah. It's the problem of, you just referred to what I call the problem of boxes. And it's like how everyone wants to put us in boxes and categorize us, and it doesn't, it's so confusing because it's never accurate. Those boxes don't fit. We don't belong in that.
No, people don't.
That's what I meant.
Well, actually, it's interesting that you say it like that, because I tell you, from my point of view, the ones that put us in those boxes are us. I know we think it's the environment, but the environment offers whatever it offers, but then it's what we decide to do with it. So if you end up in a box, that's the box that you actually design. You know, and if you choose not to do that, that means you got to be willing to step in your own groove and follow your own path. You follow that, that's where the creative freedom lies. And we strive for that all the time.
Yeah, you're right. But there's another piece of that, and that's called like a fear, I think is the word. It's like you are following your path, but at the same time, you're looking around and wait, but I'm here, but no one's seeing what I'm doing. It's not understood, and so you get scared. You think like, wow, what am I doing here? No? You don't get scared. You're scared.
You don't care about what anybody see.
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like we as artists and performers are servants. Okay, we're servants. We're just servants. Okay, so it's not that they see us for our sake; they see us for their sake because I don't need an audience. I am my audience. You understand? So I don't need an audience. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, so.
Actually,
I love playing, I love touring, I love, but I can sit in my house, man, and I get the same feelings,
Well, maybe you're thinking, are you talking about the difference between intention and attention, where you're paying attention? You don't need an audience, you're paying attention whether there's somebody listening or not. And you're being a servant not just to the audience, you're being a servant to yourself, you're being a servant to the music and to expression of yourself as a being. Is that how a way to understand it?
Did y'all get that?
I totally.
Okay.
That's what I take from your anecdote, and I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, but just to explain something that I think, which isn't contradicting what you're saying, it's that I really profoundly believe that music or art happens in two ways. It happens from those who are making the music or making the art or doing the dance or what have you, and in the listener or the viewer as they take it in. Because that's when it's not that it isn't complete just on from one side, but it hasn't done all that it can do without the person. Because the person who's listening is making the music also. They really are, because it in the sense that it changed, the artist can feel it when you're playing or you're doing your thing, and in the sense that, like there's an expression called "beauty is in the eye of the beholder." Well, that means that there can be such beauty in the way people are viewing it, that they are creating something maybe more than what was actually there, maybe less than what was actually there, but they're part of that moment. And I think that that's some of the magic that we're now missing, but it doesn't mean that we're incomplete without it. We in general, that generally people are talking about missing.
Sorry, I said who's missing, but.
Yeah, I think in general, many people are missing the experience of being in the room when art is happening. And that's what I mean by.
Do you think that need for art, is that something that's innate in human beings? Is that something we want?
I think so. I don't know. I don't worry.
Then I would say that people will go out and find it.
Yeah.
If you're hungry, you go find something to eat. If
Yeah.
you've got that need for it, you'll go out and find it.
Yes. No
But
one's-
it's our job to be in the light so they see us and hear
That's
us.
right. That's right.
That's our job.
Absolutely. and it's not always an easy one.
So if I heard you correctly, you saying that the music, because I've been hearing you say this for a minute now, are you saying that the music and the audience, the artist and the audience are required? Oh,
No.
because I see it more like
No.
a sharing.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know.
that they're required, but it's part of that is the experience. The people listening are creating, is what I'm saying, and I really became convinced of this when people started worrying about art having to be interactive. And I thought, what? And then I started to think about it a lot. So it's the interactivity is really going on. And if you think of it as like, oh, if I push this button, it'll make some light go on and make part of the light show. That's not really participating in art. That's playing.
Excuse me, that's not what?
Really participating in making art. That's just playing with, it's like a toy.
Do you understand that, I come from a Black Baptist church, and my job as the piano player was to push those buttons when the preacher wanted me to push them.
That's not what I meant.
No, I'm just saying that,
Yeah, but you're talking about something else, aren't you? I think you're
But
talking
that's where
about
I
the
come
different.
from when I play. You understand?
Yeah, I know that. You got, and that's one of the things that I personally really relate to in what you do. The spiritual, the church, the intention. I'm talking about like a gimmick.
The what?
The gimmicks, which isn't the same, that they may both have a physical button involved in them, but it's not the same intention. One's a gimmick.
I go back to something Charles Gale and I used to talk about, and he said something real simple. He goes, he calls me young man. He goes, hey, young man, when I can't play anymore, I'll be kicking up a storm on the inside. I'll continue to play. I'm going to be playing here. Even when I can't pick up the horn anymore, I will continue to play. That right there for me is the essence. If you want to talk about delight, that will always be with you, and anybody could feel that if you generate that. You generate that, and I believe that. I love to see an audience respond, but it starts from the intention. And if the intention is what it is, it could survive on its own. And the audience is really, it's a nice feeling, but that enters a different realm if you're talking about the initial intention. By the way, Patricia, you happen to be talking to 3 different kind of cats tonight.
Hey, that's the way it's supposed to be. You each got your own sound, and that's what makes a good trio. And I got my own point of view, so but I don't think anyone's thought here is contradicting anyone else's. I think that we're all, like the Aesop fable, we're all touching the elephant in different places and trying to understand and describe it.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, actually, I think actually when you think about the 4 of us, and then it amplifies out to anybody else that we connect with, right? What we're just doing, we're each amplifying this abstract, creative thing that human beings, I think, is indigenous to human beings, no matter where. We need to be abstract. We need to think of more than one thing. We have to think about a ton of things. We have to testify for whatever our truth is, whatever truth something else happens. And when you're playing, the fact that you 2 guys and you were here playing, man, it built me up a sweat, which I haven't experienced in probably a year and a half since this thing happened. So thank you, because all of a sudden I'm feeling like the amplification of this. What the hell are you doing? What's going on over there? What are they doing now? I go, yeah, oh yeah. So that's, we're amplifying this stuff. So we just amplify in a good way, hopefully.
Yay.
Like when this gentleman over here starts to go someplace, I go, okay, and it stimulates something else.
When I start playing and I go to these places, you can do what you want to do.
I do what I want.
I know. So that's all.
Well, it's a beautiful thing.
I'm on my trip.
That's the amplification.
Well, actually, another good example of being creative is a baby, man. You see, how is it that you could seemingly not have much to work with and get everybody to do what you want? Tell me if that's not creative. They know something, and that's what I'm saying. It goes past the words. The words are good, and it's nice that we could communicate through words, But at some point, we go to a place where the words fall off because they can't reach this other space. They can't reach it. So the words fall off, and we go through that silence or non-form avenue to get to these places. To me, that is it. That's for me. So that's what I like what Cooper said. It's really natural, and that's why I thought of the baby, because a baby is like super creative. I mean, but they're not intellectually saying that. They don't have to. But they get the job done.
Oh, listen, I know. I mean, I could not believe, people think that babies don't know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing. I'm telling you.
Well,
I've had babies, I've been around babies.
If someone believes that, then they're the fool.
What?
If someone believes that babies don't know what they're doing, then they are the fool.
I know.
Because the babies are getting them to go along every day.
They're in control. You just there trying your best to do their bidding. and work things out. So like you have some control left. Yeah.
I would like to add one more thing, though. In terms of being creative and responding to what's out there, like a lot of times, when we have these mental ideas of how things should be, and we don't stay open, we get locked in. We get really locked in, and sometimes we don't know why we are so locked in like that. But I think as we practice or consider staying open all the time. We look out into the world, we see all the stuff that's going on, all the negativity, all that other stuff. Personally, when I see that, I go, what can I do right now, today, to change that vibration for me, to change that vibration for someone else, to change that vibration for the world. I wouldn't say, oh, it's all this, oh. I understand that too. That's a real feeling too for a lot of us, but it's more than that. So this is why when people use the word greatness, I tend to step back a little bit. Oh, Cooper Moore, he's great. But if you stop with the word great, it ends right there. It ends. It never ends. So you say great, so what's behind the word great? It's like the Wizard of Oz. What's behind the word great? Let's keep going and find out what's behind that and what's behind that. And I think if you stay open like that, that's when you start to move things around.
Or actually, it's not what's behind, but what's all around and through. It's like, I think, and I'm really arguing with you because I know that that's really what I think you're talking about. It's like the place where everything opens up and all things are possible. And yet nothing is possible as long as you stay limited in what you think, as you say. This is me rewording what you're saying, because this is what I'm trying to struggle to do right now, because how do I keep, there's just so much to be done. How do I keep moving forward without it just burying me? And it's really all about letting everything go. It's all about words like greatness are limiting. Because that's the trouble with it. It's not that it's is that if it stops you, it's a limitation. It's not even the point. The point is this openness to me. That the point for me, at least, is this place where everything opens up. And I think that's what a lot of times as artists we're trying to get to. But it's not just in art, it's in life. How do we, because what's going on around us right now is so hard to handle. So how do we move forward? And I could advise, but I don't think so. Not to,
We're always moving forward. We're really always moving forward. You know, we just have ideas about what our future should be, our vision, you know. But we're always moving forward. When you stop moving forward, you die. Okay? It just you may not recognize it as being moving forward, but we're always moving forward.
But are we moving forward, or are we just moving? Because the mind is not full of, it's gravity free. So therefore, we're just moving. Once we put it in our body, then our body is gravity prone.
When I say forward, I mean moving.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know, just checking.
clarification.
Yeah. Gravitification.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I agree with that.
And you just said something, Patricia, I thought was interesting. Sometimes you saying that, because I know you're like a busy bee. You're like doing like 1,000 things in like 2 seconds, you know, and sometimes it's overwhelming, right? So as you were saying that, I was thinking the only thing you are capable of doing at any moment is what you can do at that moment. So if all you could do is make that one step, don't judge it, don't criticize it, just get into it so you can make the next step.
Yeah.
You know,
But
that's
now
all
you're
you can
talking
do.
to somebody else. Hey, that's not how I move. I don't do one step. I'm not a one-stepper. Anyway, no.
But the idea of just being
I
able to
do understand what you're saying.
whatever you can do, that's all you could do.
Right.
Whatever you have to offer at that
But
moment.
what's interesting is how much you can do once you let go.
That's it.
Because it's all the things that you carry around with you that weigh you down, that makes it too much, that adds stress, that makes you like, oh, I wasn't this, I failed, I you know, I'm not good enough, all that stuff. But once you just let it all go, and it's like you move out there, you know.
That has to be a regular, consistent thing. So you live in that world. Because if you do it once or you do it twice, you're not really living in it. But if you do it on an ongoing basis, like these guys were talking about movement, that's where it is. If you don't move, you don't get there. But if you allow the movement to be in your life on a consistent level, then things always will be happening. And that's why I think Cooper was saying that it's always moving forward, and also meaning
It's all
it's
natural.
motion.
Have we figured it all out for the night?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's nothing to figure out. We can only be.
You forgot.
What's that?
What you forgot.
Okay.
We're in our humanness. We forget. In our humanness, we forget everything, and then we have to forget we're that, and then we remember everything. Sorry. Anyway.
But bringing it back to the music, though.
All right.
I really think it's a good. It's really nice when you could have such individual vibrations, like working in a way that it never moves itself, but it's still in the mix of everything else. Like, you know, to say to Cooper, don't play B flat and don't play, you know, G flat. You know, and then we could play anything else we want to play, but Cooper, just don't play those two notes. You know. Yeah, well, in a lot of ways, we might not want him to play those notes for different reasons. but this is what a life is. We can only do what we could do at that moment. And I think if we practice that, stay open to it, you know, we could move things around in spite of. That's my word for the night, in spite of.
Whoa, I'm the troublemaker. Not in why in spite of? Why not this is the antidote.
So in spite of is just a word. See, I'm not going to get stuck on that.
Okay.
It's just a word, and
But-
but obviously, if you use a different word, that meant something connected with you. See, that meant something connected, so you understood something. This is why, at some point, we get into the realm of this other vibration that we hope to get to achieve through the music.
All right, kids, tell us about what you think the antidote is.
Well, I'm just going to take my cue from over this gentleman over here, Mr. T.A. Rithium, because I think you get past the words, and then the antidote is not the words. Because as soon as you have the words, I mean, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter, but I observe people and I see the words piling up, piling up, piling up. I read the paper, I listen to words, and at some point the words are like the electron microscope. You know, you have to kill something in order to examine it. And so therefore, we've killed it. So with music, we don't have to kill anything to examine it because we're just experiencing it at this moment in time. And I think that that's what keeps us beyond, outside of the box, if done appropriately. We don't try to explain it, don't try to academicize it, don't boo-ba-da-ba-ba-da-bee-ba-da-ba, but just experience it. I mean, we're talking now, but this is more of a vibrational talk. We're not trying to define it. We're trying to like expand on the experience. You know, that's my take on it.
We're riffing.
What?
We're riffing.
Hey, baby, I'm telling you.
We're riffing.
Yeah, man.
We're listening?
Riffing.
Oh, okay. In all of this, I want to hear a discussion about hearing and listening, about listening and hearing. You know, not necessarily tonight, but I think that's a discussion, because I think we don't talk enough about how what we are doing changes people's, how they hear, how they listen. And I want to talk about that more, you know, because I'm not a listener anymore, but I was a listener. I was an avid listener, but I'm not a listener. I mean, I only listen when I'm working, you know, but I don't listen for enjoyment anymore. But I remember what a joy it was, you know. I don't know whether, is it still a joy for you?
Oh, totally.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It is, totally.
You too, man? It's not a joy anymore.
But I don't wake up in the morning with my first cup of coffee and put on like I used to put on
Yeah.
some sides and listen. Now I listen in a different way. But when I do, it's like, oh,
You listen in a different
in
way.
a different way, exactly. So it's not 24/7. I'm listening to other things 24/7, but not to the sides.
Because we don't talk enough about the changes that happen in your brain or in your inner, about what happens. How do we really physically change people?
I think I remember, I don't listen the way I used to. I love listening now, by the way, sometimes. But when I was in high school, if anyone can remember that far back, when I would listen, there was a few occasions where I would listen, and I would try to imagine, I was imagining as the music is in my bloodstream. And I remember one time I was listening, I couldn't handle it anymore, and I ran out of the room crying. It was just too much. I couldn't take it. And it's, you know, I was even then a little bit crazy to the normal compared to your average Smurf. But, you know, that intensity, that way I would give myself over into like, but that's what I mean, that I think listening is also creative. Because even when you're playing music, or as I do, I dance, even when you're listening, when you're playing, what are you listening to? You're listening to the musicians who you're playing with, but you're also listening deeply to what's coming to you to play. It's not just, you're not making intellectual decisions. I'm going to play this note and that note, or I'm going to do this rhythm and that rhythm. You're listening.
Well, sometimes you will. Sometimes you will.
Yeah, and sometimes that works. Yeah, because things are much bigger than anything that I can say. And so, I'm just generalizing. You're right, though. It can, because I know that I've done some of my strongest stuff when I was not feeling a damn thing. And I was doing it because I was supposed to be doing it. And I did what I needed to do. And then I realized, wow, they must have felt that intention. That's all I had, was the intention of, like, I have to do it. So, that's a different thing. It's how you feel about what you're doing. Isn't always what other people get to feel.
The thinking body. When the mind stops, the body still is experiencing that stuff. That's what it is. It's still vibrate. You're still feeling the vibrations. So therefore you don't have to have the mind to do that. The body will do that in the listening.
Is that what you mean?
What was that?
Is that what you mean at all?
I'm sorry.
Or is that completely
I was
different?
thinking of something else. I was thinking about, you were talking about intention, and my mind went to, I was trying to remember a definition of being spiritual, which had purpose, being purposeful, having a vision, having the energy to inside yourself to do the work. But I don't remember. Well, if intention is the vision, is the purpose, is this the same? We're back to words, huh?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, but Cooper, you just said it though. I don't care if you want to say it's the vision, it's the this or the that. We knew exactly what you meant though. And you know what? And here's the great part of that. We don't have to confirm anything. We don't have to confirm it. We don't have to say, well, I think he meant this because. We don't have to go through that. No.
That's right. That's right.
But we knew what you meant.
Amen.
Amen. Have we taken up the collection?
Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow. Can I say something about that?
Yeah,
Since
but I got to tell them something else, but go ahead.
Okay, I
can
know
do it
you got to
first.
say something else, but I'm going to say something before you.
Okay, you go first.
So talking about, keeping things moving, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things that, years ago, something about Arts for Arts hit me. This is years ago. Hit me and I go, will I ever play again? See, this is what I can do. No matter if I ever play again, I think this vibration is worth staying alive, keeping it moving. It's not about me. We enter the world of we now. And I know it serves a lot of purposes. This music, the organization, and because of that, I've been donating every year for like a long time now. And I don't do it because I want anything in return. I don't care about that. But I do it because I want it to keep moving. See, and when it keeps moving, that means new musicians going to come into the mix. Different ideas are going to come into the mix. And whether I ever hear it or not, I know somebody will hear it. So I think it's important to keep any kind of organization like this going, simply because I think it offers it offers a hope and a new way of thinking or doing things, and people could have their input in a different way. So this is why I would say to anybody that's listening, it's really, really a good thing to donate to this program. And I'm not saying that because we're playing tonight. I could care less about that. I don't even care, because I'm on the silent side. I don't get too much into the words like that. So I would say that, seriously, keep it going. Do whatever you can do. Take one step. That could be a $5 step.
Amen.
Say what?
Amen.
Now you can do what you want to do.
Thank you. And yeah, and thank you, Cooper Moore, because you've also, and Ken. I have to let you know that actually this is the last completely free salon. The other ones are going to be almost free, but it sort of helps everyone to do the right thing to give at least $5 starting next Tuesday. But I hope that those of you who can afford 25 or 100 or what have you should do that. And you know who you are. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're wonderful for being here with us, and I hope that it is as enriching for you as it's been for us here. So thank you. See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank
you.
you.
No, you.
Thank
you.
you.
You. All right.